Hi, my name is Matteo, and I just want to do a video to show you how easy it is to implement the IONOS fast autoscaling script. I do have my infrastructure over here with a load balancer, a network load balancer, a database, and an Nginx server that I want to replicate with all the network connection that it has. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm just gonna bring the code into one of my system, into my computer. So I'm just gonna clone it and gonna open the code with Visual Studio Code. There you go. As it says on the documentation, there are two files. They're really important to get the script up and running. One is the IONOS.py, in this case IONOS-example, where you will have to insert your username and password in between the quotes to allow the script to authenticate. And the other one is the IONOS-fas.ini, where there is a template of what an autoscaling group looks like and the information that you need to put inside to make the autoscaling group work. Obviously, there's a little bit of explanation here for all the parameters. So we copy our system. Now I'm gonna create my file, the one with the username and password. There you go, that's it. And let's go and configure our system. So let's remove the comments. Let's call our autoscaling group test autoscaling, and let's start. The first thing that I need is the data center ID. So I'm gonna just keep this always on top. To find the data center ID in DCD is really easy. Just click on the background and the details of the data center will pop up. Click on the link API. Click on copy the UUID and just paste it in the configuration file. Second thing is the server ID, and that represents the server that I want to use as a template. So same thing, I click on the server, click on the API link, copy the UUID and paste it over on the file. Again, we need the load balancer UUID, so I click on the load balancer, click on the link, copy the UUID. And the next thing that I need is the forwarding rule UUID. Now the forwarding rule UUID is not available through the control panel, so we have to go a little bit through a different process. Now it's important that this rule is already in place and the original server has already been set up to serve traffic through this rule. So what we're going to do is we click on online help. We're going to section API, SDK and tools. What we're really interested in is the cloud API. Our cloud API will give us a list, and we're going to go and look for network load balancer. And what we want to do is to list the network load balancer forwarding rule to find the UUID of our rule. Click on try out, and we authenticate with the same username and password that we used to authenticate in our DCD. In this form, we need to insert the data center ID and the network load balancer ID, information that we have right here. Click on send request, and we should be able to have our network load balancer forwarding rule UUID. So let's copy this one and let's paste it over here. Now we need to define the minimum number of servers that we want, just one, and the maximum number that in this case is going to be just 2. The last parameter is the LAN ID that represents the LAN that I want to connect to the load balancer. So how to find it, just go to our DCD and we see that this is LAN ID 2. You can click on the network and we'll be online. LAN 2 is what we want, so we just pop a 2 over here. Okay, and we're good. We created our autoscaling group. Now to execute the autoscaling group, just click on the IONOS Python script and let's run the Python file. This will create a temporary and endpoint, REST API endpoint on port 5000. So control and click will open .0 0 5000. So obviously it's responding not found because there's no URL over here. Let's check on the documentation, and the URL is there are 3 endpoints: scale down, scale up, and snapshot. So in this case I want to scale up with my ES group, and in this case the URL will be this one. I'll just need to change the name of the group, which in my case is going to be test autoscaling. Okay, let's press enter, and our script is going to go to check if there is a snapshot. There is a snapshot already, so it's just going to create the system. We can click on our IONOS DCD and refresh it, and we will see that there are changes in progress. And you can see that there's already a new server over here that has 1 hard drive like our Nginx system, and all the network connection that our Nginx system has. Obviously, because this is automated, all the connection are going to acquire immediately a different IP address. The script hasn't quite yet finished. In fact, it's reporting server not available yet, waiting to connect to the load balancer, which means that the server is still in the building process and the network card is not available yet. When this process is going to be terminated, the script looking at the API will be able to tell and will connect immediately the server to the load balancer, and we're going to be able to see a new server connected to the forwarding rule. So you can see over here that there's only 1 rule. And now that the script is terminated with a 200 response, if I refresh my DCD, I can see there are no changes in progress. And if I click on my network load balancer forwarding rule, I can see that now there are 2 servers connected. And this is how easy it is to scale up the system and how to configure an autoscaling group. Obviously, there's also the other way, the scale down. It is really important for this script that you do not change the name of the system. So the system will automatically call the new servers test autoscaling, autoscale server, and this name are going to be all the same. Do not change this name, otherwise the system will not be able to understand how many servers there are and how many servers can actually be deleted. So if I want to delete one server from the autoscaling group, I just change the endpoint from scale up to scale down, and I send another API request, and the system immediately will reply that it's going to try to delete the server and the disk from the data center. All the requests are gone fine. Obviously, this is an asynchronous request that we send to the IONOS API engine, and that means that something may not be deleted immediately, and sometimes there is a disk floating here, but the rest has been cleaned up. So you can see that in the network load balancer there's only 1 server back, not 2. There's no more server, there's just 1 hard drive that's been left behind. But if I just reload again the DCD, I'm pretty sure it's going to be gone. There you go. Any question that you have, please feel free to contact me, and please feel free to leave every comment and back reports on my repository. Thank you very much.